Welcome to Your Mac Life for Wednesday, June the 18th, year 2014, show number 1013. Thank you guys very much for joining me here on the show. My name is Shawn King. Thank you very much for joining either live, if you are in the live audience, or if you're tuned in via the archive. However you listen to the show, thanks very much for listening to the show. On tonight's show, we'll be talking to our friend Joe. Oh, first of all, my apologies for no show last week. Had router issues with my internet access and problems, and nothing was working. And I actually had to run down the street to the local Starbucks in order to be able to send out a message to people saying, no show, no show. So my apologies for that. Didn't do a show last week. So on this week's show, we'll talk to our friend Jim Downpour from The Loop at loopinsight.com about the WWDC leftovers. We're seeing more bits and pieces of information coming out as developers and beta testers get their hands on the betas of iOS 8 and Yosemite. And we're hearing news, both good and bad, with regards to what is in those developer previews. Keep in mind, these are developer previews. So things you're reading about now might change in the future. So don't make any plans or get too caught up in it. But it's interesting to see what some of the things are. And I know Jim's been running the developer preview for the last couple of weeks too. So we'll talk to him about that too. Also, we're going to talk about the Amazon announcements. Amazon this morning announced their own phone. Do you care? I kind of, only because it's techie. But for the average person, the question would be is, for those of us who use an iPhone, would you switch your iPhone for an Amazon phone? I certainly wouldn't. I don't use Amazon nearly enough to make it worthwhile. If you are outside of the United States, probably not, because it's very limited outside the U.S. But is it of interest to you to tell your friends about? Maybe you have friends who have an Android phone, and I don't see enough compellingness there. There's some gadgets and gimmickry there that's kind of cute, but don't care. Don't see it making the phone a better device. It is, like we said about the Kindle, I would call it less, just like the Kindle, less a tablet, less a phone, and more of an Amazon delivery system, a way for you to get Amazon products and services. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's fine by me if that's the way Amazon wants to go. So we'll talk to Jim about that also. We're also going to be talking about the Stupid Apps of the Week award. Now, we don't usually do this, but this was a particularly awful 7-day period of time for really, really dumb applications that I want to talk about. We'll also have in our Starting Point Photography.com segment some questions from folks about cameras in general. So we'll talk about all that and much more. In honor of, well, maybe not in honor, I want to say thanks to, first of all, happy birthday to Jean McDonald, formerly of SmileSoftware.com and now of App Camp for Girls. Jean has her birthday today. Mac Genie, at Mac Genie, if you want to send her a Twitter birthday. And also our friend Amy, at Jen S, 2 N's, JENNS 79. At Jen S's birthday is also today, June 8th. And very, very many thanks to my friend Leslie, who, in honor of my trip to Nova Scotia next week, has brought me over a 6-pack of Keith's. Thank you, Leslie. Appreciate it. Oh, that's good stuff. Nectar of the gods. If you've never had a chance, I say this every time I have this. It's called Alexander Keith's India Pale Ale. Oops, I can't turn my wrist anymore because of the accident. Alexander Keith's India Pale Ale is the name of the beer. If you don't like India Pale Ales, don't worry about it. This is not a traditional India Pale Ale. India Pale Ales, for those folks who may not know, beer by the name, the kind is brewed differently. So an India Pale Ale is one that was, it's extra strong, extra hoppy, because it had to make the trip from Britain to India. And so they made it so it would last that long. So a lot of India Pale Ales have got a very strong flavor to them. And if you generally, a lot of people who aren't real beer fans don't know much about it. But this is not a traditional India Pale Ale. Oh, but it's so good. You've been watching the World Cup? I've been watching the World. I've watched every single game. Right there in that TV back there, every single game of the World Cup has been on. Love it. Having so much fun watching it. It's so much more. As I was saying during the pre-show, I'm not a huge soccer fan. Soccer is something that's always been, and I never played it as a kid. One of my many stepdads was a Brit from Manchester. So his team was obviously Manchester United. So we would watch when Man United was on TV. But I've never been a huge fan, except every 4 years. I love watching World Cup, if only because of how excited all these nationalities get over this game. And watching people like the Brazilians who just love, I mean, we think Canadians love hockey. Our love of hockey is nowhere near comparable to the way the Brazilians feel about soccer, about football. It's incredible. Really, really amazing. But all the games have been great this World Cup. One of the problems with soccer for North Americans in particular is it can be kind of boring. We think it can be kind of boring. But these have been really good games. I've been really impressed with, well, for lack of a better term, all the scoring. Scoring is fun. Soccer scoring is fun. Watch what they do with the ball. I mean, if you gave me a soccer ball and said, here's $1,000, do what he just did, I would trip, fall over, and break my nose. Some of them, the foot things that they could do, I mean, it's just incredible. It's just so much fun to watch. I really, really enjoy watching. And most of it's in the background on the TV while I'm sitting here working and writing and doing the things that I do on a daily basis. But as I was saying in the pre-show, if it's Brazil, I will make myself a sandwich. I will sit down with a cup of coffee. I'll have a snack, whatever it is. I'll sit and watch Brazil. I love watching Brazilians play soccer. They're show-offs. There's no other way to describe it. Brazilians don't describe it that way, but I certainly would describe it that way. That it's fun to watch. Monty says any game that can end in a tie is just weird. Football ends in ties. Hockey ends in ties. I think the only major sports that don't end in ties is baseball and basketball. Otherwise, lots of sports end in ties. Chess ends in ties. So I think one of the great things about it is at least here in the first round, they're not playing for ties. Whereas in previous World Cups, they would play for a tie. You're not seeing it this time around. They're actually playing to win the games. I don't know if the rules have changed or what's going on, but it's different. Anyway, it is a lot of fun. I said in the pre-show, we were giving away some prizes. The Friends of Your Mac Life contest is back on. If you haven't had a chance to go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com, right there at the top of the page, it says Friends of YML entry form. Fill the entry form in. It sends me an email. I put your name into our virtual hat. We've got some wonderful prizes from the great folks who are sponsoring the Starting Point Photography Secrets Revealed class next week in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Software from the folks at MacFun Software, macfun.com. Gorilla Pods from the Gorilla Pod manufacturer, joby.com. We're giving in Nova Scotia, we're giving away a printer from the folks at Epson, R2000 printer, amazing photo printer. The folks at Olo Clip are giving away some iPhone lenses, macro and zoom and telephoto and fisheye lenses. Sorry, not telephoto, wide angle lenses. Lowpro is giving away some Lowpro bags, lowpro.com. Backblaze Online Backup is giving away some online backups for the folks. And Pixelmator has some software, the excellent image editor, Pixelmator, pixelmator.com. So all that stuff is being given away in Nova Scotia, but we got some examples of it to give away on the shows leading up to that. So I want to say thanks very much to those companies for sponsoring the photography seminar. If you happen to be in Nova Scotia, please come on down. We've got special pricing. My sister convinced me. She said that her scrapbooking girls don't have all that much money. So my sister convinced me to give them a special deal. So not many tickets left. You happen to be in Nova Scotia, in Halifax next week. I want to learn more about photography. The Photography Secrets Revealed classes at the Halifax Museum of Natural History on Saturday, all day long on Saturday, June 28th. So please, if you can, join us there. If you'd like for this kind of class to happen in your area, let me know. I'd love to be able to do this everywhere. I think this would be fun. If you can get 20 people together, if you belong to a Mac user group or photography group or a Facebook group, if you can get about 20 folks together, we can do this. We can find some way to do this. So let me know. Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com. Send me emails there. What else we got going on? We got I got this, I got that. Oh, this is going to get really annoying. This is before we call Jim Jampa. Have you guys seen this? Have you ever watched the TV show Amazing Race? Either you Canadians or Americans? this is going to get really. I've never seen the show. I don't watch reality TV. So there's this American show called the Amazing Race, and there's a Canadian version called Amazing Race Canada. Well, it turns out this time around, this lovely couple that you see on your screen right now, that's Jen and Shawn King of Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada. Yes, Shawn King is going to be competing in the Amazing Race Canada starting in July. I'm already getting tweets from people. Wow, Shawn, cool. No. I had some government official in Nova Scotia tweet to me this morning going, oh, congratulations. No, it's not me. I'm not that guy. It's the wrong Shawn King. This is going to get worse and worse and longer as this goes on. I hope they go out in the first round. I'm sorry. I can't take it. Monty says, well, there's 2 Shawn Kings from Halifax. There's more. There's at least 3 that I know of. 4 now with this guy. It's a fairly common name. I've said it before. I'm the police chief of Tulsa, Oklahoma, too. I used to be a quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Seattle Seahawks. I used to also be an offensive lineman for the Indianapolis Colts. I've won an Oscar. I've won an Emmy. Shawn King is a freaking common name. Oh yeah, and I'm also married to Larry King. That's the worst one. And being married to Larry King is the worst of all of them. I'd rather be any one of the other guys than have to be married to Larry King. That's just the absolute worst. Mendez says, could be worse. At least it's the Amazing Race, not something extra idiotic. Like what? Isn't the Amazing Race idiotic? I don't know. Like I said, I've never watched the show. I don't care. I don't watch reality TV in general. Certainly not. From what I've seen from the commercial, it's some sort of, I don't know, competition race across the world or Canada or I don't care. I don't care. I just know that this is going to get really annoying as I get more and more tweets and Facebook messages and notices from people going, oh, my own brother sends me a tweet going, hey, Shawn, this is really cool. No, dude, it's a different guy. It's not me. First of all, it says from Halifax. I'm not in Halifax. And look at the picture. What do they mean that guy have in common is we're both bald. And I'm hopefully a whole lot less of a hipster douchebag than him. Look at the flannel and the tats and oh God, just guy makes me ill. Sorry, I'm ranting and raving. Folks, later on the show, we're going to be talking about the worst apps of the week, the stupid apps of the week, so please stay tuned for that. We're going to give away some prizes later on the show, but up next, we're going to talk to our good friend Jim Downpour from The Loop at loopinsight.com. This is your Mac Life. Welcome back, folks. Thank you guys very much for joining me here on the show. My name is Shawn King. We're going to get our friend Jim Downpour on the phone just here in a second. There we go. Plug this in without hanging up on him, and boom, there we go. Hey, Jim, how you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks very much for joining us. Let's do a little bit about WWDC, a little leftovers of the Worldwide Developer Conference. You've been using the developer preview now for the last couple of weeks. Anything new, interesting that's come up with your use of Yosemite?
I really like it.
Yeah, it's fairly stable, isn't it?
It is very stable. I still wouldn't recommend people use it.
Yeah.
Just because it's a beta OS, and, you never know. But I really like it. I haven't found, there's glitches,
Sure,
things that happen, but it's beta. So, and that's the problem that people have with betas. They use them and say, "Oh, I found something."
Well, I love the idea that Apple, I don't know if folks realize this, Apple has disabled the ability to leave App Store reviews in Yosemite. So you can't run some piece of software under the developer preview of Yosemite and find out that's the text expander or whatever the software is doesn't work, and then whine about it on the app stores, which I think is just freaking brilliant of Apple. It's about time they did that. Because that's the worst thing that people do is like, this app is broken. Well, yeah, you're running it in the developer preview, you asshat.
Yep.
WWDC has come and gone. 2 weeks now. Have your thoughts and feelings about the sessions? Sorry, you didn't go to the sessions. The keynote changed. Do we have any other information that you think is relevant to the audience? Hey, I tried. Okay, I'm trying. I'm trying.
Yeah, that was pretty good. Not as sneaky as what I would expect from you, but it was still pretty good.
But I mean, from
my opinion hasn't changed.
Okay.
Of how important this WWDC was, and it seems that developers' opinions haven't changed about how important it was, and that's the most important part. For us as consumers, is that developers continue to be excited about it.
Mm-hmm. I talked to the Long Island Macintosh user group on Friday, and I said to them that this was certainly the most important for Apple WWDC since Jobs passed away, and possibly even before then. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, I think it's probably, now looking at this strictly from a developer standpoint, I think this is probably the most important since the iPhone SDK.
Mm-hmm, yeah, I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And regardless of the way the media might be portraying this, and some of the idiots in particular at the New York Times who should know better, saying that nothing happened and people weren't excited about this, shows a fundamental lack of understanding of what in general a WWDC is and what this particular WWDC means to Apple as a company, both inwardly and outwardly. Correct?
Who wrote that?
I can't remember the name of the person. It wasn't the usual suspects of moronity at the New York Times. It wasn't Brian Chen or the other morons over there.
Because that's one of the stupidest things I've ever heard.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly they didn't take the time to talk to anybody, because I talked to developers, at the show. I talked to them at bars. I talked to them when they were sober, drunk. I even rolled one guy over in the street. Yeah. Everybody said the same thing, that the possibilities of what Apple gave to developers just increased so much, and they were so excited about it. So I find it difficult to believe that anybody at the New York Times actually spoke to anybody that knew anything. I find it difficult, because walking through WWDC, people were stopping me and telling me how good it was. So,
Brian Monroe.
I talked to the ones that had beer, but
no, of course, yeah. Brian Monroe in the IRC chat room wants me to ask you about what you got as the opinion from developers with regard to Swift and Metal.
Well, see, those things, developers were very happy about them because it's going to make things a lot easier for them.
Yeah.
They could see the possibilities of the way that Swift was going to be interoperable with some of the other, with regular Objective-C. So that made it very attracted to.
Mm-hmm.
I talked to one developer that said that he has an iOS app. People have been wanting him to bring that to the Mac, and he feels that now he can do that with Swift. And that kind of puts a whole different spin on things. You know, when you can now say, with this, his plan was this, and actually he wrote a story about this, but his plan was to take his iOS code, use the common pieces, and put those into, you know, a Mac project. Then use Swift to write the remaining code, and then over time go back and replace the common code with Swift.
Yeah.
And he felt that just by looking at it, he felt that this was Swift would allow him to do that, because you can write in Swift and Objective-C, and you know both codes are going to compile and they're going to work together. So I thought that was an interesting use case of how Swift was going to be able to help.
Folks, we know that Jim's audio is fading in and out. Unfortunately, it's the cell phone cover. Jim, are you wandering around? Are you outside? Stand still.
Oh my God.
One of the things that I've heard from developers that is very, very interesting is the idea that Swift, because of its simplicity, is going to allow them, as you said, to write code faster, but it's also going to allow new developers to come into the fold. Apple is capturing a whole new group of developers who, for lack of a better term, might be younger, who will then create iOS apps for a longer period of time. And I don't know if this is true or not being a coder, but I've seen a lot of folks talk about that aspect of it, the fact that now coders won't have to learn the difficultness, and I don't know if that's true or not, of things like Objective-C and C++ and that kind of stuff, because Swift is an easier language for them to learn from the beginning. Do you think that's going to be true?
Yeah, see, I don't know about that.
Yeah, neither do I.
Dave Mark is a very good programmer that goes on the loop with you and I.
Yep.
I saw the other day that Dave even mentioned that he still recommends going back and learning some of the other stuff. I don't know if that's a necessity. I don't know enough about it to be able to, you know, talk about it.
Yeah, me neither. I know, like I said, I've talked to developers who have said this to me. I wouldn't know. It would kind of make sense. I mean, I don't know. Neither of us are smart enough to be programmers, so neither of us really know how that's going to work.
Yeah, but you could say that about anything.
True.
I mean, you know, is it better to learn guitar on an acoustic and go all the way back to the beginning, or is it better to pick up, you know, one of these newfangled things and learn like that?
Well,
you know, the tried and true old time guitarists are going to say, "Oh, I'll learn from the beginning."
Yep.
You know, I don't.
That's a good point. I hear the same thing about photography too. People say, well, you should learn how to do film photography, or you should learn how to use an SLR, or that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it depends on who the person is and how they learn and what they want to accomplish, as opposed to being able to say, cut and dried, try acoustic first, try film first, try Objective-C first, or whatever it might be. So we don't know.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the Amazon announcements today. We kind of knew this was coming. This has been rumored for quite some time, for years actually, that Amazon was going to come up with their own phone. From the point of view of a phone, ignoring any kind of comparisons, what do you think of this Amazon, what I want to call the Amaphone? What do you think of the Amaphone as a device, as a thing that people will buy?
Well, see, now you just added something on there that's going to, there's a couple of things, you know, as a phone and as something people are going to buy. I mean, it's got all kinds of cool little things in there.
Yeah.
But my question is always, how much will people use these things?
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, the stuff that they added is kind of cool.
Sure. Yeah.
You know, you can't deny that. But how practical is it?
Yeah.
And, you know, not to say that they should have released a boring phone. Amazon actually did, I think, a pretty good job of saying we have something different, and they do. But, you know, is this, you know, a Spaces type of feature that, you know, a lot of people will use and say, hey, wow, this is cool, and then never use it again?
Mm-hmm.
Or is it, they're certainly not checklist items, like NFC, where people say, oh, you have to have NFC.
Yeah.
You've got to have nobody will use it, but you've got to have it. They added some cool things. But will they take a significant portion of the market? I don't think so. I really don't think so. I think that they will take a portion of the market more from Samsung than from Apple,
sure,
which is, good news for Apple.
Mm-hmm. For me,
I don't think that it's really much competition for the iPhone because there's still pieces missing, and mostly in integration and the infrastructure that Apple has. I still see that as a huge win.
For me, I see it as if you are already a big fan of Amazon in general, of you're a user of Prime, that you buy things on Amazon and you want to buy more things on Amazon. Very much like the Kindle. I said this in the pre-show. If you are a fan of, a customer of the Amazon ecosystem through Kindle, through other things, I think you might like the Fire phone, but only if you already don't have a phone. I can't see many people, certainly I can't see an iPhone user giving up their iPhone to buy a Fire phone.
No, but I think what you are going to see is exactly what you just said. People that know the Amazon brand, they trust the Amazon brand.
Yeah.
And let's face it, a lot of people do, and
sure.
they should. Amazon does a good job at the business that they do.
Mm-hmm.
So you're going to be shopping someday, and Amazon's going to pop up something about the Fire phone, and you're going to say, okay, well, I already use Amazon. I have this piece of Samsung crap, and I'm going to try this instead, and away you go. So I think that will happen quite a bit. Now the price points are still higher than what I thought they would be.
Yeah, surprised me too.
For an Amazon phone,
yeah.
But he was comparing that phone to the 5S, and then coming out with it's $100 cheaper.
Mm-hmm.
I personally I don't buy that. I think that there's a lot more to be said for the 5S than what they have. But
sure.
Still, they have some cool things in there that are going to appeal to people that want the newest, latest, and greatest things. But I think when those first reviews come out, that will really tell the difference. I don't find myself in an art museum that often, so.
Yeah, that kind of stuff might be kind of cool and geeky, to be able to point. You're in an art museum and you can point your phone at a picture and it can show you what the picture is. Or, I don't know, maybe you could read the plaque underneath the picture.
Yeah.
So that's what I mean. To me, this is a whole bunch of eye candy, the parallax 3D thing. Yeah, I don't care. The idea of being able to flip the pages of your book by tilting your phone. How lazy are you that you can't flick your finger on the screen to change the pages on a book?
Yeah, see, that's the kind of stuff that I'm talking about. That doesn't really appeal to me.
No.
I mean, but it could appeal to many other people. And, I guess there's no way to really tell who it's going to appeal to.
Yeah.
But ultimately, there's a few things that I want to be able to do with my phone. It has to make phone calls.
Sure.
And be good at making phone calls. It has to be comfortable in one hand. Right now, that's an important thing to me. I still think the iPhone has room to grow and still be comfortable in one hand.
Yeah.
And social media and music, media. So social media is easy. All platforms have that. So it's still important. But the media, my music, I want to be able to have it in the cloud and be able to play it. Amazon is a huge cloud player.
Yeah.
They've nailed that. Everybody uses S3 and the other services that they have, so you can't fault them there. So they have a compelling product, but I don't think a product that it's anything that Apple's sitting back and worrying.
We talked earlier about the New York Times. I don't know who they've got writing stuff over there or copy editing things. This is a quote from the New York Times today from the article, Amazon's phone, it's not about the phone, really. Quote, maybe the phone is just a decoy for what Amazon is really betting on the next computing platform to be, in whatever form it takes, like wearable computers. Unquote.
Boy, that's a stretch, isn't it?
That is got to be the complete misreading of Amazon as a company and this phone that you could possibly do. The reason why Amazon developed this phone is so you can buy more Amazon stuff. It's got nothing to do with wearables. It's got nothing to do with health devices or iWatches or anything like that. It's about buying more stuff from Amazon, you numbnut.
It's just like when Google releases a phone.
Exactly.
So they can show you more ads.
That's from Claire Kane Miller over at the New York Times. It's like, you guys have written some amazingly stupid things over the last week about everything. And it's just like, well, what is wrong with you people? How could you look at what Amazon just announced today with all the hooks they have into ways to buy things at Amazon.com and go, oh, it's not about that at all. It's about wearables, which they didn't even mention.
Yeah.
They said nothing about wearables.
That's pretty crazy.
That's just being maliciously stupid, okay? That's just being intentionally
I think
dumb.
people at the time should stop doing cocaine during
They really should, man. It's really absolutely should. It's just
that's so far out in left field. I don't even know what to say about that. I hope you're not looking for a comment. I don't even know what to say.
Another quote in a New York Times story, Amazon introduces the Fire iPhone. A quote from Eugene Signorini, Vice President of Mobile Insights at Mobiquity. He's talking about the 20 million Prime subscribers that Amazon is assumed to have. They don't give us those numbers. He says, if they are able to capture 10% of those subscribers in the near term, then that would likely constitute a success. So he's saying that if Amazon can sell 2 million of these Fire phones over the next near term, let's give them 6 months, that would be a success? For everyone else, that would be a huge failure.
Well, I remember when Jobs first released the iPhone, he only wanted to sell, 1 million or something?
Yep.
So it's hard to figure what would be deemed a success. I don't expect Amazon to sell 50 million Fire phones.
Yeah.
I really don't. If they sell a couple of million, that's a success for them, I guess. If you look at the tablet market, Amazon has, by latest numbers, I think it was maybe New York Times or Wall Street Journal I read today, where they have like 1.9% of the market.
Yeah.
It's not a big percentage of the market, but it is a new way for people to buy more Amazon stuff.
Now, Mo asked...
Amazon will never give us the numbers.
No, never, yeah. Now, Mo asked a good question. I've seen a lot of folks ask about this, and let's put his fears and concerns to rest about, is Amazon at all likely to stop developing for iPhone because of this? Do iOS users lose the Kindle app, for example? Your thoughts?
I wouldn't think so, no.
Amazon makes too much money off iPhone users. Study after study after study shows that iPhone users spend, compared to the number of iPhones out there, a vast majority of online shopping is done with an iPhone, with an iPad. 75% in some instances. There is no way that Amazon's going to give that up. Now, they may introduce features for the Kindle and for the Fire phone that are only for the Kindle or the Fire phone, but they're not going to stop developing on the iOS side because that would just be throwing money away. That would just be dumb of them.
Well, Amazon cannot alienate its customers, and it cannot not bring in money. It needs revenue. I mean, it's going razor thin as it is. It can't afford to just stop making money. So, I mean, it has to go where it has to go. I don't see Amazon as a company that will cut off one revenue stream in favor of another. Yeah. I see Amazon as adding revenue streams. So if the Fire phone adds, a revenue stream for them, I think they'll be happy, and they'll be happy to keep the iPhone and iPad stream as well. And if they can come up with another one, they'll add that as well. You know,
we've
that's
seen
how I see it.
We've seen these ads on TV, and they always seem kind of cool until I start thinking about them. And Bezos mentioned this during the launch today about the instant tech support, as I'm quoting from The Verge here. As part of its mission to pack every single Amazon feature into the Fire Phone, the company's adding a feature from its Kindle tablets, Mayday. Mayday, which launched last year, is a free 24/7 tech support line that Amazon promises can be reached within 15 seconds from the device. You've never heard Apple talk about something like this. And to me, it seems to be an odd thing to trumpet, that you're going to have problems, but we can help you in 15 seconds. Do you think that's the message they're sending here, or is there a different, more consumer-friendly message?
Well, everything that Amazon talked about today, I look at it more as something that others aren't doing. You know, but maybe that's easier than going to see a genius for a lot of people.
Yeah, possibly.
But, Apple makes it very easy to open up your App Store app or your Apple Store app and schedule an appointment with a genius. You just walk in and there you go. Everything is fixed. So, you know, it's a different take on supporting the customer.
But there's no doubt that that
can't be a bad.
Well, true, it can't be a bad thing, but it just seems like an oddly discordant thing. And now, I'll be the first one to admit, being able to get Apple tech support genius stuff on my phone in 15 seconds, that could be kind of cool. I kind of like that. But it doesn't seem to me to be a thing that you want to put front and center of your presentation to brag about the fact that when you need help, that's what this is all about. Yeah. When you need help, here's how to get help in 15 seconds. It just seems kind of an odd thing to me. I don't know why that strikes me as so funny.
Let's see how that 15-second goes when the first 100,000 phones go.
You folks, Jim's been away from his podcast, Amplified, for a couple of weeks. He did a new version of it today. I got to ask you about the title of this one, Amplified. Do you keep canaries? I haven't listened to it yet. What the hell does that mean?
You're going to have to listen.
Oh, you bastard. Go to the website, loopinsight.com, or go to 5by5.tv, or go to the iTunes store, do a search for Amplified. Jim and Dan talk about his back from vacation, WWDC, the new IMAX. We didn't even touch on the new IMAX, and a bunch of other stuff. Check it out on the iTunes store. Jim, thanks so much for doing this, buddy. I really appreciate it.
Thanks a lot, Shawn.
Have a good night. See ya.
You too. Bye.
I don't want to keep Jim for too long. Let me make sure I get to... No, you go away. What do you guys think about the Amazon phone? Send me an email to Shawn at yourmaclifeshow.com and let me know what you think. I'm going to have to turn the volume down here for a second. Hang on. Is that coming through? I hope it's not coming through for you guys. It is. Hang on. Hang on. Sorry, because Bill isn't here to do my audio. I have to switch this cable on my own. It means I got to move multiple buttons at the same time. So on air, yourmaclifeshow.com. What do you guys think about the Amazon phone? Like I said, if you don't have a phone, someone in the IRC chat room, my apologies, it scrolled past before I could get to it. ArcSign says Gruber links to a tweet that Amazon's API will use head tracking to make sure you watch the ad before content loads. Oh, good. That's something I want. Someone mentioned that Amazon may be targeting people who have dumb phones. That's certainly possible. Are they targeting gadget geeks with all this eye candy gimmickry? Possible. Is this a phone I would recommend to the average person? Maybe. If they, again, were heavily involved in the Amazon ecosystem. Would I recommend an iPhone user switch? No. I don't see enough here that isn't eye candy. And there's a lot of eye candy here. And some of you may like. I have no problem with eye candy. But for me personally, I want useful eye candy. I guess in which case it wouldn't be candy. It would be good stuff. But I just don't see enough there, especially this price point. That's the thing that surprised me the most, was the price isn't that much less than an iPhone. And it's not significantly less enough to make people make this an impulse buy. That you go to Amazon.com and see it on the front page, oh yeah, click, I'll get one of those. I was expecting it to be a lot cheaper. Remember, Amazon has a history of losing money on products and making it up in volume. If the idea is that Amazon, the phone is just a delivery mechanism for Amazon products, very much like the Kindle, then I was expecting the price to be a lot lower, like half what it is now, maybe $99 on contract. So that kind of surprised me that it was significantly more expensive. If this is what we think it is, an Amazon content delivery device, then I was expecting the price to be lower. Maybe Amazon doesn't think of it that way. Maybe Amazon is seriously in this to take market share away from Samsung, to take market share away from Apple. I don't think that's going to happen. I think, if anything, the market share comes from BlackBerry users. You know, if you're a BlackBerry user, you know your days are numbered. That you're not going to get much cool new stuff out of BlackBerry. So maybe you are looking to get a new phone, and maybe this would be a good phone for you. HTC, companies that haven't been very successful. I think that's where the market share gains are going to come from when it comes to Amazon. I can't see very many, if any, iPhone users switching, and I can't see a lot of Samsung users switching, although there will be more than on the iPhone, just because Android folks tend to switch more to different brands and things like that. But it'll be interesting to see how this thing moves forward. Did you see the ads? Not the ads. I posted this video up on ArcSign. Sorry, ArcSign says, Shawn, general public will be much better served by whatever iPhone they can get for free from their carrier. I agree. Absolutely. I think if you're price sensitive, then a free iPhone is better than a $300 Android phone. Sorry, than a $300 Fire phone. Because there's not enough there to make up the difference. And if you're going to spend that kind of money, then you might as well get an iPhone. Again, if Amazon doesn't have their hooks in you. If you're outside the United States. So the other thing, too, is that this is a very U.S.-centric device. A lot of this stuff will not work outside the United States. And for those of us who live outside the U.S., you know Amazon.ca, Amazon.co.uk, Amazon.jp is just a freaking nightmare. I was talking earlier, these lights I'm using for lighting the room here, these photo studio lights, $6.99 for each bulb, and they're like that big around, and they can take 500 watts, and they're just big monstrous lights. $6.99 on Amazon.com, $22.99 on Amazon.ca. It's the same light bulb. It's from the same company. It's the exact same light bulb, and yet it's more than 3 times more expensive here in Canada. It's insane. And that doesn't include shipping and duty charges and this and that and the next thing. It's just, I don't buy anything on Amazon.ca. It's just too expensive. A lot of the products are from the United States, so you have to pay $30 in shipping to get them to Canada. Then you have to pay import duties or import fees and duties and taxes and all kinds of other stuff. It's quite often it's not worth the bother on Amazon.ca. It's really frustrating, really, really annoying. Brian Monroe says you have to pay for your health care. Yeah, we have to pay for our health care. It's called taxes, dude. Everyone who says Canada gets free health care, you don't understand what taxes mean. It's not free. Someone's paying for it. Somewhere along the line, someone's paying for it. Did you see the wonderfully done Beats World Cup soccer video called The Game Before the Game? I posted up on Loop Inside, I think about a week ago, 2 weeks ago. Really well done. I love the way it was shot and that kind of stuff. Well, it turns out there was a reason why that came out a couple of weeks ago. I didn't realize this, but Sony is the sponsor of the World Cup, and they've banned Beats headphones from inside the stadiums. They banned the soccer players and the coaches and anyone involved with wearing Beats headphones. The funny thing is, Sony gave all the athletes a free set of whatever Sony headphones they wanted to give. And yet there are still all kinds of pictures around of the athletes outside the venues wearing their Beats. Now, is that a bigger advertisement? Is that a bigger selling point for Beats, you think that might mean more? If an athlete has a choice, they all get their little goodie bags, and they've got all kinds of stuff in the goodie bags. When they go to the hotel, when they first got to the hotel, there would have been probably a big bag in there, or some reception that would have handed them a big welcome bag or a goodie bag. And in there would have been a box of some Sony headset. And so let's assume you've never used a Sony headset. You would have gone back to your hotel room, you would have opened up the box, you would have put these things on, plugged them into your MP3 player, your phone, whatever, listen to music and gone, no, I'm going to use my Beats. So there's all kinds of pictures on Twitter and on Instagram of these athletes, these soccer players wandering around outside the venues with their Beats headphones on. Even though they get a free pair of Sonys, they're walking around with Beats. That's going to be an ad I think Beats should be putting up very, very soon about how, they got free Sonys, but they choose to use Beats instead. That could be really, really interesting. And again, hopefully you guys are enjoying and watching the World Cup. I'm having a blast watching it. I've got no dog in the hunt. Canada, as someone said to me during the pre-show, the last time Canada was in the World Cup was in '86, and we probably got beat in the first round and never scored a goal, or whatever it might be. We're not a soccer nation, but it's wonderful to see the excitement of people, to see how much fun the Brazilians are having showing this thing off. It's really cool. Somebody also was asking about this little wall of photos I've got back here. Remember I did the interview with the folks at Social Print Studio? This is the poster that I made up. I think it's a 24 by 30 or something like that poster. Allowed 50 or 54 pictures on it. It came out really nice. I wish I could have done some things different, but I can't. One of the problems with it is that its border here on the edge is a little too thick all around. I'd rather have that room for more photos. The other problem is that the photos are all the exact same size. And so you have to go into every single photo that you upload to the website and recrop it to represent what you want it to represent. And some photos don't work as a recrop. Some photos I didn't put up here because they didn't work as a recrop. A lot of them did. A lot of them came out nice. I'd love to be able to stretch them across two of these windows or two of these squares. That'd be kind of nice. For you folks who have eagle eyes, my head's in the way. That one right there, that's the afro picture. It's my high school afro picture. And I got my buddy Jay is up there, Jay Curtis from Nashville. I see Steve Melnicki, Binky is up there. Who else do I got up there? I got Jen or Amy, Paul Kent is up there. Got a whole bunch of pictures. Jim Dalrymple right here. Right there is Jim in his Fear the Beard t-shirt. That's Binky up there. This is my sister Melanie here. So I got all kinds of, my buddy Mike Rose from TUAW is here. So it came out nice. I like it. Like I said, there's minor quibbles that I'd like to see different. Now, the other thing that's going to be interesting is stacking this up against the folks at Epson sent me the Epson Photo Stylus R2000. Amazing printer. Huge, monstrous printer. Prints off on canvas. Canvas. This thing will print canvas. So stacking that up. Now, this was from a professional print shop down in California. So stacking this up with what I'm going to be able to get out of the R2000 is going to be very interesting to see the difference. So it'll be fun. Mosquito, it's a gloss finish. At least it's shiny. So it's a gloss, but on heavy cardstock too. I like it. It was Brian Monroe that was asking about the wall of photos. Thanks, Brian, for asking about that. Stupid apps of the week. The most useless app ever of this past week. First of all, is this app called Yo. Okay, it was coded apparently according to BGR. It was coded in less than 8 hours, and all the app does. Are you ready? And this was Sherry. You were asking about this earlier. All the app does is text your friends the word "yo." That's all it does. Yo. Because you need an app for that. Because you can't text them yo. Because you can't iMessage them yo. Because you are so frickin' lazy, you can't simply tap the letters Y and O on your iPhone. Now this gets worse. The developer of this app raised $1 million in seed capital in order to be able to develop this application. $1 million for an app that does yo. Don't download this. Don't yo me. If you yo me, I will block you forever. Okay? I don't ever want to hear, and hopefully it's a app to app thing. Hopefully you can't yo to iMessage or things like that, because that would be really freaking annoying. It really is the most incredibly stupid application. Sends a simple, short yo message to friends. 4 million yos have been sent by over 50,000 users that have downloaded the app. That's utterly insane. $1 million somebody got for this app. Now, the other one is, I got in a little bit of a, I wouldn't say fight, because fight's the wrong word, but into a discussion with our designated Jew, Lauren Finkelstein, on Twitter. This app is called Anything After. It's called the Movie Credit Stinger app. Now stingers are those things. What they're calling stingers is those things that occur either during or after the movie credits. When you go to a movie and you see the credits, they say, "Ever gone to the movies and wondered, is there anything after the credits?" Well, Anything After answers that exact question. Save yourself from missing a bonus scene or waiting for no reason and more. How lazy are you that you need an app to tell you to sit down for 10 more minutes? Lauren was saying, well, the credits can last for 10 minutes. You've been in the theater for 2 hours. What's 10 minutes more? Just sit there. If you're curious, just sit through the credits. It's not that big a deal. Your life is not so busy that you can't spend 10 more minutes sitting in the movie theater. If your life is that busy, you shouldn't have wasted 2 hours in the theater to begin with, that you can't spend 10 more minutes. Now, I like those little things that they'll put in credits. I still remember as a kid, it was some Burt Reynolds movie. Maybe it was Smoking the Bandit. I don't remember what it was. But during the credits, they had bloopers. And it may have been the first time it was used. Certainly it was the first time I remember seeing bloopers in a movie theater credit sequence. Like the credits were rolling up one side, and they had these little videos of bloopers. It was funny. It was cute. And so you started seeing that every now and then. It's become a lot more popular recently. I think Toy Story started off this new trend of having a lot of end credit video at the end of it. And then we all know about the Avengers and the Marvel movies. At the end, there'll be another scene that will hint at something in the future. So just sit there and watch them. Even if there's nothing afterwards. Just sit and read the credits. One of the things is, too, and this is my own personal thought. Brian Monroe, if you need to use the restroom, then go to the restroom. I'm not talking about things like that. If you have to go to the bathroom, go to the frickin' bathroom. Mosquito says, I like to stay for the credits. I want to hear the soundtrack. Young Sherlock Holmes had a great bonus at the end of its credits, too. Monty says the people whose names are there are just as important as the people you watched for the previous 2 hours. Mosquito, sit down and see the names of all the people who might have actually worked harder than the stars of the picture. If it's a Pixar movie, sit your ass down because they're always there, says MacMan. Arcsign, Shawn, I never wait for their credits. They make me nervous. I expect a giant clown face to pop up and scare me. Well, Arcsign, it means you have other issues that cannot be solved here. For me, the other thing is, to me, it's a bit of an homage, a thank you to all those folks who worked on the movie. Because you're never going to know their name. You're not going to remember a single name. But to me, it's a sign of respect that I sit and watch their name go by. Not just the actors, but the key grip and the dolly grip and whoever the other people do those odd jobs. But the continuity people and the script supervisor and the technical advisor and the artist and the I sit and watch every single second of it. A, as out of respect to them. B, because something might happen. But C, also because I'm not in that much of a rush. I don't need... See, because the other thing is, if you have to go to the bathroom, if you have to go to the bathroom and you rush out right afterwards, everyone else is in the bathroom at the same time. And so you have this crowded area of men holding their penises. I don't need that. I'll wait. So I can wait 10 minutes for the credits to be over. So, go ahead. And thirdly, the stupidest app of the week. I'm saving this one for the end because this is just the most incredibly stupid application for a number of reasons. First of all, their tech support is only available via Twitter. Okay, that's not the way you do tech support, guys. Sorry, email tech support. There's nothing on their website, so you can't do anything. The website is nevercenterlabs.com. The app is 1 hour photo, which sounds kind of neat. We all remember 1 hour photos when we were kids, and our parents would take us to the local drugstore to get photos done in an hour. Well, what this app does, and I'm reading off the website, it sounds like a terrible idea, but you'll be surprised what it does to your photos. 1 hour photo makes all your shots more magical by making you wait an hour before you get to see the results. Makes you wait for an hour before you can see the results of your photo. So you take a photo with your iPhone and then wait an hour before it shows up on your iPhone. Who the hell wants this? Who wants to go back to the days of having to wait for your photo? I want my photo instantly. I want to see how it comes out right away. There's no it's not like the app does anything that's so special that it needs an hour of processing time. The app could show it to you immediately. It just chooses not to. And it's not like you can turn it on or turn it off. It's a one-trick pony. It takes a photo, you wait an app, and you get a black and white picture. That's idiotic. That's utterly, completely the stupidest photo app I've ever seen on the iOS store. And I've seen a lot of stupid photo apps. That one just takes the cake when it comes to just stupid. Don't download this. Don't encourage these people. 1 hour photo, avoid like the plague. Now, if there's an app developer out there, I'm going to give you a free idea because I think this would be cool. Where you take a photo with your iPhone, okay, and then before you can see it, you got to shake your iPhone. Remember when we were kids and you get those Polaroids? You know, your dad or your mom had that big clunky camera and would take a picture and that paper would shoot out and you'd grab it and you'd shake it. You didn't have to shake it. It turns out it would have developed anyway, but you thought you had to shake it. And so you'd shake it to get the picture developed. Wouldn't it be kind of cute on an iPhone app? You could take a picture of a kid and give the phone to the kid and have the kid shake the phone to get the picture to show up. I think that'd be kind of cool. I've got a shopping cart app or a shopping list app. I put everything on my shopping list, and then as I'm going to the grocery store, I can swipe to draw a red line through the things I've already bought, and then at the end of the shopping trip, I just shake my phone, and the app clears the things that have the red lines, which I think is kind of cool. I think it could be kind of fun to have a photo app where you shook, and as you shook it and looked at it, it would slowly develop. You know, so the more you shook it, the faster it developed or whatever. I think that'd be kind of cute. But the idea of having to wait an hour for a black and white photo, I think is just dumb. Rocker Chick says, Shawn, maybe there would be less selfies in the world if forward-facing photos were 1 hour. I don't disagree with you on that. I don't. I don't think that's a bad idea. Rocker Chick, does anyone use the Run Pee app at the movies? I always have to pee and it tells you when you should go. And it tells you what happens while you go pee. What? What? What app is this? Send me a name of this app. The Run Pee app at the movies. I always have to pee and it tells you when you should go. It tells you what happens while you go pee. See, what I do is I go to the bathroom before I watch the movie. That way I don't got to go pee in the middle of the movie. It's called Run Pee. Oh, are you kidding me? Oh, I got to check this out. I'm sorry, folks. We're going to do this live. Run Pee, RUNPE.com, because movie theaters don't have pause buttons. The Run Pee app is surprisingly easy to use. When the app starts, it shows you a list of movies. No. You're kidding me. Because movies don't have pause buttons. Gives you a list of 1 to 4 moments in each movie when you can run pee. Okay, this is a stupid but fun app. I got tears in my eyes. This is hilarious. Oh my God, that's hilarious. That is absolutely hilarious. Thank you very much, Rocker Chick, for that. Oh my God. Mac Mendez. Mac Mendez. Sorry. MVC Mendez. Shake It Photo. Oh, there is an app like that. Shake It Photo brings the memories of taking Polaroid photos to your iPhone and iPod Touch. Well, that's cool. It's a $2 app. Take it, shake it, share it. I might buy that because that's kind of cool. Looks Polaroid-like, kills hipstamatic. It may or may not. Who knows? Thanks very much for that, Mendez. I'm just going to call you Mendez. Rocker Chick, that app is awesome, Shawn King. Run P. I don't know if it's awesome, but it is funny. Emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. As we say, always love getting emails from you guys. Did you see the story this week that I posted on the Loop today, actually, today? Apple Australia and store employees have reached a pay agreement. This is interesting. The agreement becomes effective this November 1st. Starting pay for full-time level 1 employees is $20.95 per hour U.S. Level 2 employees start at $25.26 per hour U.S. I got to assume level 1 is just the sales associates, probably level 2 are the geniuses. Casual employees, those employees don't get full-time hours, will receive 25% more per hour to offset fewer benefits. And level 3 employees are management and will receive a base annual pay of $72,779. That's not bad. I don't know the Australian standard of living, but $20 an hour to start sounds awfully damn good. I think I read that minimum wage in Australia is $16 an hour, which is very, very high. I think minimum wage here in British Columbia is $9.75, I want to say. So it's significantly different. That's pretty good. That seems like a very, very good wage for a beginner. You know, if you're married with 3 kids, that's not enough money to live on. But if you're, you know, what we think of as the typical Apple Store employee, you're retired or you're a student or you're, you know, young, $20 an hour, full-time work, it's not bad. That's not bad. Good for them. Good for them. Australia's minimum wage is supposed to be what you pay someone to be able to make a decent living, buy food, own a home, educate their kids, etc. Okay, that's a good way of looking at minimum wage. That's certainly not what minimum wage is here in North America. It may be different in other countries, but minimum wage in North America, in some places in the U.S., some states in the U.S., minimum wage, even at 40 hours a week, still puts you under the state's poverty line, which is bad. Minimum wage should not be that low. Let's see. I get emails from you guys. As always, we say email to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. Love getting emails from you guys. We got again. We want to say thanks very much to the wonderful companies. This is the Starting Point Photography segment of the show. Say a big thanks to the folks at MacFun, macfun.com, MacPhun, Joby, makers of the GorillaPod, Joby.com, Epson, makers of the R2000 photo printer. And by the way, I've talked to a lot of photographers over the last 3 months. I've been doing more of the photography stuff. They all use Epson printers. If you're a pro photographer and printing at home, they all use Epson printers. And if you're a pro, you know what you want to print on, so they're all using Epsons. Oloclip, makers of the very cool Oloclip lenses for your iPhone and iPad. Low Pro, I love my Low Pro bag. I carry my Low Pro bag everywhere I go for my cameras. Backblaze, online backup. Always encourage folks to have an online backup. And Pixelmator, absolutely fantastic photo editing software. Pixelmator.com is their website. Someone asked, what's the difference between a mirrorless camera and a DSLR? Okay, a DSLR stands for digital single lens reflex camera. And that is, I picked up with the wrong wrist. And that is one of these big honkin', what a lot of folks would consider to be a professional camera. It's got an interchangeable lens on it. It's got a physically larger body than your iPhone, than your point and shoot, that kind of stuff. And the reason for that is because, one of the reasons why, is it's got a mirror inside of it. What happens is light enters the lens through the front part, hits a mirror that's on the inside. So the mirror is almost dead center of all of this stuff in here. The mirror is not a flat mirror. It's a tilted mirror. And the mirror then bounces the image up to what's called a pentaprism, or a 5-sided mirror. And it bounces it up, then over, then down, then through your eye, through what's called the optical viewfinder. The optical viewfinder enables you to look through this and see exactly what the camera is seeing through the lens. That's why a lot of pros, like an optical viewfinder more than an electronic viewfinder. Electronic viewfinder is more like looking through a little tiny TV screen. And that may be good or may be bad, depending on your own personal choice. So pros generally want to see an optical view of this. So what happens with a mirrorless camera, obviously, and I don't have it handy. Hang on a second. Let me get the mirrorless camera. Wait. I'm back. Now, a mirrorless camera is exactly what it sounds like. It's a camera without a mirror. So it doesn't have that mirror here in the body. It doesn't have that pentaprism up here in the top. So it's significantly... so hard to pick this stuff up with my bad hand. It's significantly thinner than a DSLR. So it's lighter. It has fewer moving parts, although it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. These are getting very, very good. If I was a new photographer who wanted to get into more creative uses, if you're shooting on auto all the time, these are not the cameras for you. But if you want to learn to be more creative with your camera and don't need or want the giant bulk of an SLR, there are companies that are making some incredibly good mirrorless cameras. Olympus is definitely one of them. Panasonic, Fuji. Some of the second-tier companies, besides the Nikons and the Canons, are making some amazingly good mirrorless cameras with some really, really good choices for lenses. The other thing is lenses can be interchangeable. This is what's called a 4/3 system. So you can put unlike a Nikon or a Canon, Nikon lenses will not go on a Canon lens will not go on a Nikon. On this Olympus, I can put a Panasonic lens on this and vice versa because they've got common camera mounts on them, which is a good thing. So a mirrorless camera generally means it's not a professional camera, although you can take great shots with a mirrorless camera. Mirrorless means physically smaller, physically lighter, fewer bits on the inside of it to make it a smaller camera. So that's something to think about if you are thinking about stepping up from a iPhone or a smartphone into past a point and shoot and into a SLR type camera. I've got a question also. What kinds of lenses do most DSLR cameras come with, and what are their uses? You can buy almost every camera, DSLR camera or mirrorless camera, can come with a kit lens or without a lens at all. So it's called body only. You can see that on Amazon.com. Your local store may sell cameras with just the body of a camera. If you have a selection of other lenses or you can borrow lenses from friends, go body only because it's cheaper. But generally what's going to happen is the camera manufacturer includes what's called a kit lens. It's quite often an 18 to 55 millimeter lens. Now, pros will tell you, oh, the kit lens sucks. Well, maybe not. I wouldn't, if I was a beginning shooter, and I tell people in my class this all the time, if this is your first SLR camera, if you don't have any of the lenses, the kit lens is going to work fine. Do not stress out about lenses right now. Learn how to use the camera right now. Learn how to use that lens right now. And then maybe move up, move down, move around to get a more expensive, better lens than the kit lens. The kit lens is going to be perfectly average. I'm not going to lie to you. It's not going to be a great lens. It's not going to be a fast lens. It's not going to be a lens that will enable you to be a professional and shoot weddings and shoot sporting events and that kind of stuff. It's going to be a completely average lens. But to be perfectly frank, you're probably a completely average photographer. So wait until you get better than your lens. Wait till you get better than your camera before you go looking at buying a $1,000 lens or a $500 lens. I always tell folks, if you're excited and want to buy a new lens, buy what's called the Nifty 50. Every camera manufacturer makes a 50 millimeter lens that is generally fairly inexpensive, under $200. For the Canon, most times under $100. The Nikon's about $130, depending on when and where you buy it. And that's a fun lens for portraits and for other kinds of shots. So if you need to buy another lens, get one of the Nifty 50s. But don't go buying some great big huge telephoto lens the very first time you're in the store. Don't let the sales guy convince you, oh, that 1855 is just a crap lens. We just throw that in there for the fun of it. What you really need is this 24-200 for $1,000. No, don't do that. Don't fall for that. Wait until after you've outgrown the lens before you go buy a new one. Monty says, is changing the lens in the Olympus more or less the same as the Nikon Canon, where it's a quarter twist to unlock? Monty, on the Olympus, like the Canons, there is a button right here that you push the button in and then twist it. That would be clockwise, and it comes off. And obviously the reverse, I'm going to make sure that my dots line up. The reverse is true. So it's the button and then a twist. Very easy to do. It's the different direction on the Nikon, but it's the exact same procedure. Macman says Nikon's kit lens is pretty good, actually. Yeah, you're not going to, if you know what you're doing, you can take good shots, like I've always said, with any camera. It doesn't matter. And the 1855 is not a bad lens. It doesn't have much of a zoom to it. It's got a decent wide angle, although at 18 millimeters, it's not great. But it's true of every lens, every zoom lens, all the way out or all the way in is not the best. You want to do it a little bit less than all the way out or a little bit less than all the way in. If you haven't had a chance, by the way, go to startingpointphotography.com and check out the pictures I posted up from 2 weekends ago. Here in Vancouver, we had the Italian Days festival on Commercial Drive in Vancouver. Commercial Drive is the big North American ethnic neighborhood of Vancouver. And every year they have this wonderful celebration. Basically, they close down a section of Commercial Drive, probably 10, 15 blocks. And it's a street party. You know, there's Italian singers, Italian food, Italian this, Italian that. It was a lot of fun. I got some nice pictures. I got some pictures that I really like out there. So check that out at startingpointphotography.com. Any other questions, send me emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. As always, love getting emails from you guys. Alberto Ferrari. I own an iPhone 4S running iOS 5.1.1. I'm wondering if it's worth the upgrade to go to 7.1.1. Actually, I don't like the new interface very much, but I realize I'll get a lot of new useful features. On the other hand, I'm worried about how long will the battery last. Is it likely everything will slow down? Yeah, dude, don't. Just from you saying I don't like the new interface very much, then don't bother. There's no need for you to upgrade if you're not going to like the interface. The SIG didn't like the interface on the iPhone 5S. She refused to let me put OS 7 on her phone. That's fine. The features that you're getting, I don't know that's going to be enough to make it worth your while, especially considering from all the reports I've seen, there is going to be a significant slowdown in the operation of your iPhone. So that's a concern. And the other issue is it's difficult, not impossible, but difficult to go back to a previous version of the iOS once you've installed 7.1. So for the most part, if you don't like the interface, go to Apple's website and do a search on OS 7 and see what Apple says on the new features. And if you like what it says there and think you can put up with a slowdown and think you'll eventually get used to the interface, I think you will. The interface doesn't bother me nearly as much as it used to. There's still issues, but it's not as annoying as it was before. Brian Monroe says, Shawn, I disagree. Any new iPhone they'll get will have iOS 8 on it. So I would get it so they get used to the new UI. He didn't say he was getting a new phone. Nowhere in the story does the guy say, nope, read the story again. He doesn't say he's getting a new phone, so I'm not going to assume that he is. The iPhone 4S will last this guy for a very, very long time. So I'm not going to assume that he's going to get it. I get this question. I went to, I want to say a big shout out and a big thanks to the nice folks at LIMAC, the Long Island Macintosh Users Group. I did a virtual presentation with those guys last Friday. And so hi to George and Scott and all the guys there at Rick, all the guys there at the Long Island Macintosh User Group. My favorite mug. I always say that. It's true. They're my favorite mug guys. So I got a similar question to this one from my friend Barry Cohen. Hey, Shawn, could you recommend a quality digital camera under around $200 for elderly folks? Too complicated to assess online. Now, I get the similar question from one of the LIMACers. Said he wanted a camera, small, light, with an optical viewfinder under $100. That's almost impossible. Certainly new, quality, under $100, impossible. You can buy cameras that are under $100. I don't think they're very good. You're buying an old Kodak. You're buying an old HP. You're buying an old camera. I posted a story about how you can buy a DSLR for under $100 on eBay and places like that. Now they're going to be 4 years old, but if you don't mind that, then go nuts. But you're not going to get very good quality, or you get 4-year-old quality is the issue. So $200, you can get a decent point and shoot for that kind of money. Not a great point and shoot. It's not going to be fast. The shutter speed won't be fast. The sensor won't be fast. It'll be for snapshots of the grandkids kind of thing. Again, Olympus makes good the Stylus Tough point and shoot, which I recommend to everybody who needs and wants a camera they can beat up. The newest version of this just came out this month called the Stylus Tough TG-3. These are wonderful little cameras to if you're hard on your gear, if you want to go to adverse conditions, you want to go to the beach and take a camera, you want to go skiing and take a camera, you want to go underwater and take a camera. I'm not taking my Nikon D600 underwater. I'm not taking my iPhone underwater, but I would go underwater with this thing in a heartbeat without a problem. So that's around, this is the older version. You probably get this if you shop around for around $200, which would be a good camera. And same with other point and shoots around the same thing. It's the old good, fast, cheap, pick two kind of thing. So hopefully, Barry, that helped you. And Roddy Paws writes, trying to sell my Canon EOS 50D. I listed it on eBay. It sold to a user who registered that day. Unfortunately, I can't block such users. Anyway, it didn't work. Any eBay alternative sites that you recommend? I know here in Canada we have something called Kijiji. I've never used it, but apparently it's a Canadian version of eBay. The other thing, Roddy Paws, you could try is Craigslist. I don't know how comfortable you are with that. I don't remember where you live, Roddy, but one of the things that you could do is also check out your local camera stores. Your local camera store might be able to sell it on consignment, or might be able to buy it from you outright. Now, you're not going to get the best price at your local camera store, so that's going to be hard. I think Craigslist is probably the next best thing. And he said that that seems even riskier. I was hoping you knew of a site like Gazelle for camera equipment. No, I don't know of anything like Gazelle for camera equipment. And Craigslist is not risky if you take precautions. You know, if you want to meet somebody, if someone wants to see the camera, meet them at Starbucks. You know, just go there during lunchtime at Starbucks and meet the person there. If they don't want to meet you at Starbucks, then don't sell them the camera. All things considered, I don't think it's any less or more risky than eBay. eBay, you don't see the person. eBay, you could ship your camera off and never get the money. So you can manage the risks of both eBay and Craigslist. But if you don't like eBay, I think the only other choice you have is local camera stores, local photography clubs. Maybe there's someone at a local photography club who could help you, or using Craigslist. So give those a shot. Hiker BC says, no, Kijiji is owned by eBay, is a Craigslist competitor. Yeah, but Kijiji is Canadian. Brian Monroe says, Shawn, with eBay, you can collect the money first and then ship it. That's normally how it works. There are still instances of people who have collected the money first, shipped the gear, and then still gotten ripped off. It can happen. It can happen both ways. So nothing is certain or set in stone. Michael Curtis says, I haven't seen this mentioned before, nor do I know if it means anything, but Swift started under Steve Jobs. To me, projects like this didn't get off the ground without his approval. He wasn't around for much of its development, yet it wasn't rushed, it never leaked, and people seem impressed. I'm hoping this shows Apple knows how to run a complex project like this and release it when the time is right, even without Steve Jobs. These teams still have standards and know what is required. I don't disagree with you, Michael. I mentioned this to the LiMac guys. Swift started in 2010, which is obviously under Steve Jobs' reign, and it would have been with his permission, and it didn't leak. I said to the LiMac guys, Apple doesn't leak internally. We see all these stories about this and that, and the next thing is leaked. We're using the word leaked wrong. A leak is an intentional dispersal of information, generally to the media, by the company. Not necessarily with the company's permission, but say a vice president of something wants the media to know something, and he'll leak it to a preferred member of the media. These things that you see, these supposed leaked iPhone camera shots, these aren't leaks. That's someone taking the picture and posting it. That's not a leak. A leak comes from inside the company. Apple's not leaking these things. Apple doesn't leak at all, no matter what John Modellaro at Mac Observer might say. Let's give out some prizes, shall we? Don't forget, go to the website, yourmaclifeshow.com. Fill in the entry form right there at the top of the website. It says Friends of YML Contest. You can do that. You can log on to not log on, but you can go to yourmaclifeshow.com and click on Friends of YML Contest entry form at the top of the page. And that page will then let you fill an entry form. The details don't matter all that much. For me, it's mostly just a curiosity thing. The information doesn't go anywhere else. I don't sell your email address to any other companies. It never leaves my computer. But make sure your email address is correct. Because if you win, that's how I contact you. So you got to send me a real email address. Don't post fake email addresses in there. It's stupid. You can't win that way. Again, I want to say thanks to the folks at MacFun, MacFun.com, Joby, Joby.com, Epson, EpsonAmerica.com, Oloclip.com, Lowpro.com, Backblaze.com, and Pixelmator.com. All great companies who are supporting the Starting Point Photography Photography Secrets Revealed class that I'm doing next week. Wow, week from tomorrow. I'll be in Halifax, Nova Scotia, Canada, doing this. So let me go to our virtual hat and make sure I've got the names right. Make sure I got the list is here. Okay, I'm going to start scrolling through the list. Someone in the IRC channel say stop whenever you would like, and I will make sure I draw the name for a copy of the MacFun software. Monty says stop. This is going to go out to Macy Johnson. Macy Johnson is in Orlando, Florida. Congratulations, or my condolences, Macy. Depends on what you do in Orlando. I've been to Orlando. I'm sorry, it's an awful town. Sorry, Macy. I hate your town. Sorry. Macy, you want a copy of the wonderful software from the folks at MacFun. I love the Snap Heel software. Is really cool. Have you guys seen? I gotta show you this real quick. MacFun is MacPhun. They have this piece of software called Snap Heel. Let me see if I can't find it real quick. Before I started playing around with Snap Heel, there were photographs that I wouldn't take because there was something in the way. A perfect example of it was I was we were in San Francisco for a Macworld Expo, and this is a great example of right there on the screen, Macworld Expo, and I saw this wonderful shot that I wanted to take, but there were all of these telephone wires, electrical wires, there were wires in the way, just like you see on the screen here. It was driving me nuts. I could not find an angle to take the picture where I could get rid of those wires, so I didn't take the picture. Well, now I can. What I can do now is, knowing I have Snap Heel, I can see the image and say, yeah, I see the telephone wires are in the way, but with Snap Heel I can fix it. So now I can take the picture and fix it in post with Snap Heel. It's fantastic. It's $20. And you can try it for free. MacFun.com/Snap Heel. So definitely check that out. Macy, we're going to send you an email to the folks at MacFun, and they'll send you off a code for you can download your own very own personal copy of snap peels from the folks at MacFun at MacFun.com. We'll do more of this on next week's show. Thanks to all you guys. By the way, if you're a subscriber to Your Mac Life, don't worry about it, because that means you get entry forms automatically put into the virtual hat. You don't have to fill out a contest entry form. And we actually give you extra entry forms for every $2 above the initial $2 that you subscribe for. So if you subscribe, I get a little bit of money, which I greatly appreciate, and you get extra entry forms for our contest. So please do that if you get a chance. Go to the website at yourmaclifeshow.com. Right there on the right-hand side, left-hand side, you can click on the subscribe to Your Mac Life entry. Subscribe to Your Mac Life, click the little button, and the money comes out of your credit card, out of your PayPal account, $2, $5, $10, $15, whatever it might be, per month, gets sent to me. Every little bit counts. Believe me, don't think that, $2 isn't very much. If 10,000 people send me $2 a month, I'm having parties, and you're all invited. That'd be kind of cool. I've always dreamt about that, how cool that would be. I've always thought it would be, if 10,000 listeners sent me $2 a month, I would come and do the show in your house. I would literally once a month pick someone and come to their house and do the show. Because I could afford to do that. I'd interview you. You could have your friends over. We'd have a ball. If I was making $20K a month. It'd be a hell of a show at $20K a month now, wouldn't it? Folks, I want to say thank you guys very much for joining me, as always. Appreciate it. Sly, thank you very much for being here. Sly wasn't, we weren't here either, but Sly was off at a concert last week. So her Facebook page had some really nice pictures of the concert Sly was at last week. So we would have missed you, Sly, if I'd been here too. So thanks for being in the IRC chat room, everyone, with Sly. Appreciate you guys being here. And as always, send us emails to onair@yourmaclifeshow.com. Anytime during the week, we like getting emails from you guys. So until next week, as always, I've been Shawn King, and you've been listening to Your Mac Life. Hey-ya!